Hello and welcome to another fantastic episode of The Kickout, the final word in professional wrestling. I am your host, the Wizard CZ. Before we get the ball rolling, I need to give a shout out to Crander Q at Red Ape Graphics who made our logo. I apologize, I keep forgetting to do it on the air, but we're doing it now. That being said, I want to welcome back into the studio my forever tag team partner, one half of the tag team champions of For Frequency's Sake, Mr. Never Wrong Nick Bull. Nick, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing great, CZ. I'm doing great. Feel good to be back in the studio with you. I know it's been a minute since we have been apart. A lot happened, though, in that weekend. We'll touch on it in a second. But it feels great to be back in the saddle here. Of course, on the kick out as part of the Card Subject Change podcast. We have a podcast, of course, by the fans for the fan. We're powered by Low Pie Speed. We're built by Zero Remodeling. We're colored by Ryan Allen Tattoo. And we're protected by Jared Zuka Country Financial. See, I had to get that out of my system since I wasn't on the air this past weekend. So I got to get these reads. And corporate wants this, corporate wants that. So I had a great weekend with college visit with my son, and was able to get back at a good enough time that myself, my son, and our mutual friend, we'll refer to him as that effing Mark, came over to watch Wrestle Dream, and that's how I spent the rest of my Saturday. While you were, of course, up in Waterloo holding down fort. Special thank you to Zach Takis, of course, for filling in for yours truly. He did a fantastic job. Zach is top notch. He's top shelf. He's the standard here, man. He's been doing this for a lot longer than we have. Doing good things over there at Shotgun Wrestling Radio. So go give him a follow. Check him out. We send you his way. He's got a terrific podcast. I wouldn't steer you wrong. Zach is good people. Trust me. Very good people. And very honored to have him fill in for me this past weekend.
Yeah, and what a great show we had. Go back and watch it for yourself. Don't listen to it. I encourage you to go to our YouTube page and watch it because there were some wheels turning, some plates spinning, and we actually had an interview interrupted. I'm not going to say much more than that, but no, Zach did a fantastic job. I'm glad he was able to tag in and play the Freebird rules with us as we defended our belts in Waterloo. We won with the Freebird rules. But we are on the Kickout, and that is a totally different program than Card Subject to Change, although we are part of the same family. I'm going to ask you the same thing we ask every week on the Kickout, Nick. What do you want to talk about?
What do you want to talk about, CZ? What do you want to talk about?
I think the big news that is revolving this week is one Bryan Danielson and what could be his last match, or if not last match for a while. Danielson, of course, facing Jon Moxley at Wrestle Dream, which I haven't seen the match. I know my partner has. I'll refer to him to how the match was, but Danielson now is retired from full-time professional wrestling. And that to me is big because I've been a fan of his for going on 20 years now.
Yeah, he's a modern legend. Right? He is somebody that we watched in the 80s become loved by everybody on the indies. He was unbelievable. He could wrestle against anybody. He was so good Mad Days, but he had a great strike. He had a great following, the whole final countdown thing. I think he is a wrestler that's universally respected by both sides of what they like or don't like somebody. Okay, I'll say, hey, I don't think there's any room for that here, but, maybe a wrestler that I like and there may be another one out there that's good that I did like. I think he was universally liked. Like, I don't know if too many people are like, I hate Bryan. I can't stand him, blah, 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 blah. And a universally liked legend, in my opinion, is in our midst. We lost one earlier this year with Sting retiring. He's out of business now. But Sting in that category, I think Bryan Danielson, we're going to say that, is universally respected and was a modern legend. And I liken it to when Randy Orton retires. And we're, God willing, we're still doing this show. And we do a show about Randy Orton retirement. We'll feel the same way when Randy Orton retires. It'll feel like losing a legend. It's out of the business now. And that's how it's going to feel now with Bryan Danielson being retired from full-time duty.
And you mentioned, that you can't think of anybody who doesn't like him. I know on air, on screen, on camera, The Miz and Michael Cole did not enjoy Bryan Danielson, or Daniel Bryan as he was known then. But it's hard to tell how much of that was real and how much of that was part of the story.
I agree. And I think Michael Cole has flipped the script on Daniel Bryan at the time when he was in WWE, came around to his side and was a part of the bottom of the Yes movement and all that. So, I think that Cole and Miz stuff was a big time storyline, and they did a great job with it. I think personally there's legitimate beef between Miz and Bryan Danielson. I think they probably buried the hatchet if there was one a long time ago. I think all that stuff is fan driven. Maybe some clickbait stuff that we're all guilty of seeing out there. But that's probably
for sure. And he's definitely going to be missed. I think he's one of the top stars that has ever been in the ring. Like I said, I've been a fan of his for going on 20 years. I remember going to ROH shows in Chicago and Dayton, and he would come out to the ring, and back then, just watching him walk to the ring and watching him perform in the ring, you knew this guy was something special.
Yes, beyond special. Beyond special. I guess when I was thinking about sitting down talking to you about this today, and what, now that he's retired, okay, he might have a match here or there, but he's retired full-time. And we've always known him as a full-time guy. When he wasn't hurt or rehabbing, he was always there. He was a constant.
Yes.
Until he couldn't wrestle anymore. And then he got clear, so he was a constant. He was a constant in this business. A guy that got a lot of time in AEW. I think a lot of people are going to remember him for his matches in AEW. He's had some unbelievable matches. Probably has the match of the year right now with Will Ospreay.
Yes.
That was from Forbidden Door.
Was it Forbidden Door or was it Double or Nothing? I'm trying to remember.
Work on it.
Yeah, we'll come back. We'll circle back to that at another time.
He's got a potential match of the year with Ospreay. He had an unbelievable run at AEW. At first I didn't think they booked him well, and then they made up that with how he was booked on his way out. I really think it was time. I think the neck is giving him more issues than we are led to believe. He's done a pretty good job of masking those, but I think he is in a lot of pain and needs to have the surgery. And knows in order to do that, I don't know, they drop the belt at some point. I thought for sure maybe he would somehow win and then have it in Japan. The super show we're going to have in January to coincide with Wrestle Kingdom. I thought maybe that's where it ended. So when it ended at Wrestle Kingdom, Yeah, I was a bit surprised like how it ended, and it ends kind of controversially, which makes you believe maybe it's not his last match. Referee Bryce Remsburg called the match because Daniel wasn't moving, didn't want to call it, hesitated, and then rang the bell, and then Bryan's moved right after it.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's
So there was a little bit of cloudiness around that finish,
right.
which leads you to believe this is going to be his last match. We're going to see him again here soon. So I don't know if there's a loophole with it being his last match, full time or not, or if it was really time for him to drop the belt and go because the surgery had to be done. I think he was in a lot of discomfort, and who are we to judge? That's what I believe. I believe the injury really caught up with him, and this had to be done ASAP, just for a quality of life reason.
Right. I can agree with that, and I'm sorry to see him retire, but he has led a very full and long career, and I'm glad that he got to go out pretty much on top. Champion in every company he's been in, as far as I know. I'm glad they finally gave him the championship as he was on his way out the door with AEW. Because if they hadn't, I would have liked AEW even less than I can. Then I don't not like AEW. That's not what I'm trying to say. But they have their issues and quirks that I'm not a fan of. And if they had not given Bryan Danielson the championship, I might have been done with him. I might have just given up.
Glad they did. He had a memorable run. Had some great matches along the way. Probably going to be in the match of the year with Will Austin if something comes out here in the next couple months to dethrone that from calendar year 2024. And the end of the year is just around the corner. I just want to ask you one more thing.
Okay.
When you hear Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, what's the first thing that comes to your mind now? What's the first match? What's the first memory? What's the first thing that's going to come to your mind? Boom. What's the flash of video in your mind when someone heard of Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan?
First thing that pops in my head is that feud with the Miz, and it's more a Miz-centered thought, but it was directed right at Bryan Danielson, on that Talking Smack show where Bryan called out the Miz and Miz just went off on him. They had such a great rivalry through the years. That stands out the most to me. What about you?
No, I'm going to go with this. I know he said it was the most memorable moment of his career, winning the AEW title in Wembley at all in this past year. My moment that sticks out to me is the end of WrestleMania 30. After he beat Triple H in the opener, and he goes on to beat Batista and Randy Orton in a triple threat match. Becomes the undisputed, unified, whatever. He had both belts. It ends WrestleMania 30. That's how I'll always remember him when he's brought up. Leading Superdome, yes, chance. Yeah, that's the instant I'll remember, and I'm especially happy now that I was able to go to All Out this year and see him with his first title defense on his retirement tour, essentially when he took on Scapegoat Jack Perry, and
Yes.
I thought it was a very good match. Both guys really showed out. I really thought Danielson did a tremendous job of making Perry look, like a deserving foe. But yeah, I think back to the end of WrestleMania 30, the whole Yes movement, that whole David Goliath build and him finally doing and ending WrestleMania 30. That's what I'll think of.
For sure, for sure. And that was such a pivotal moment in his career and a great moment, a great memory for sure. Well,
without a doubt. And like I said, he had some great moments in AEW.
yes.
Some great matches, some great memories. Everywhere he went, he left a lasting impact with how he interacted with people, the matches he put on. I mean, he's as advertised.
Yeah.
As advertised. An all-time great. I think we'll start getting put on people's top 10 lists here as he dwindles out his wrestling appearances, maybe appearance here or there. But I think you're really going to see him start to get mentioned in the top 10 of all-time guys.
I can see that. Let me ask you as we get ready to wrap up. Obviously, if AEW starts a Hall of Fame, he's a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer there.
Yep.
Will WWE open their Hall of Fame doors to him?
I don't know. Bryan seems genuine when he says that this is the most fun he's having. This is the best time of his career. Who are we to say? But I would guess the travel. I would guess the schedule between the two. It's a no-brainer if you hate traveling.
For sure.
I think that's one thing these guys and gals, and not just saying the boys there. I think it's we don't understand how much they travel and like how much of a burden that has to be. Just the travel. We don't give them enough credit for how much traveling they do.
Absolutely,
and I think
that's
something that needs to be considered. Like unreal the travel schedule of WWE as compared to AEW. Unreal.
Yeah. Hopefully they do get him in the Hall of Fame in the WWE. I'd love to see that. But if they don't, it's their loss. Such a tremendous competitor. And
yeah, I agree. I think he's comfortable where he's at. I don't think he'll go back to WWF. I don't, or WWE, excuse me. I'm sorry.
You said a bad word.
I think he's content with where he is, and he'll be a no-brainer first ballot with those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will just say this here. I know he is not watching, but Bryan Danielson, if you ever come across this podcast, thank you. Thank you for everything you've done for the wrestling business.
Got to see you live on a few different occasions, and it was great to see him live. It's cool. It's a cool experience, and glad I got to experience it. Whether he was wrestling Claudio Castagnoli in a Ring of Honor show in Chicago, or whether he was headlining AEW pay-per-view, semi-headlining it, excuse me, with the Scapegoat in Chicago. He was top-notch, man. He's going to be a measuring stick for several years to come. He'll be the guy that we compare the next generation to. Well, could they have wrestled like, that long and as well as Bryan did? So he's going to be the guy we start comparing people to. And I really think you're going to see people, we only know what we see, right? It's perceived he's lived a pretty good life. He's got a good home family life. He doesn't drink. He doesn't drug. I think he's a vegan. He's on a pretty incredible diet. He's incredibly fit. So he's taking good care of himself is what I'm trying to say. Like Bryan's going to be the guy that people come out of the woodwork for in the future to go meet at a signing, get an autograph, get their picture taken. Like he's going to be the guy that people are going to want to see here when you look at the next 5, 10, 15 years at these wrestling shows, at these appearance places, these Comic Cons or whatever. People will come out of the woodwork to see, and talk to Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson. Book it. I'll be one of them, but that's like the next big thing to look forward to, I guess, as a wrestling fan from Bryan Danielson.
Right, for sure. I agree. I completely agree. So, excuse me. I'll be in that line waiting to shake his hand, get a picture, and have him sign something. Have him sign some memorabilia. I can't wait. I hope to see him on the circuit in the near future once he's rested and recovered and able to get out there.
Would be awesome to see him at a Dreamwave show. Just saying. No, I'm kidding. It'd be really cool. But
Austin Bayless, Bridge City Slam.
Yeah, we're not doing Bryan Danielson justice. Just devoting a little bit of time here to him. But we didn't cover any wrestling this past week, or excuse me, CZ did the show Saturday night. We didn't cover Wrestle Dream. But I felt this was a perfect opportunity to kind of catch up and just shoot the crap on Bryan Danielson and just talk about his career and what you think he'll be remembered for and stuff like that. I mean, dude, he's still with us, and I'm glad he is, and I'm glad he's retiring when he's still able to go. He stayed ahead of the game, took care of himself. Now he's gonna have surgery, and that's it. I mean, he had a great career, he really did, and he's gonna live a great life afterwards. He's going to be missed. There's going to be that spot on the card, that presence, that person that's going to be missed, and he's definitely one of them. So,
yes, very much so.
Just wanted to talk to you and shoot it about Bryan Danielson, him losing. Of course, him losing. AEW's got a new title, and it was very offsetting what the BCC did with the title after Jon Moxley got it. Moxley wins, the BCC get in the ring, and Moxley grabs the belt, doesn't even do a double take at it, takes it over to like a duffel bag or some kind of bag that Claudio has, Cesaro, and puts it right in the bag. Like, doesn't even parade around with it, nothing. So
really,
I'm interested. Where is that angle going to go? And I'm sure if it's not discussed on future episodes of the Kickout, it will be discussed on the card subject to change, because that's a building storyline there. Like we're getting just puzzle pieces here and there. That's building to something bigger, that whole BCC storyline. And what's going to happen with their quote unquote takeover.
Right, for sure. I'm invested. Excuse me. And as this airs, later tonight, we might find out more, because as this airs on Facebook and YouTube, Dynamite is upcoming.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. But I'm getting an alert on my computer that my computer's going to die here. I mean, I guess it's that time. I mean, what's coming up on the next episode of Card Subject to Change?
So this Sunday, we are welcoming in the co-CEO of the Wrestling Network Society, Herman Cade. He is better known on the internet world as Professor Bear. We're going to learn all about his wrestling love, and more importantly, the Wrestling Society Network, where to find it, what it is, and how it can help everybody that's a wrestling fan.
Tune in to the Card Subject to Change. We want to thank you for tuning into the Kickout. A little behind the scenes look here at what we do during the week in between shows, kind of preview our next show. We're so glad you're a part of this. Like, follow, subscribe, leave a message, leave a comment, ask a question you want answered on here. We would love to do a mailbag episode where we answer viewer questions. But for my
Ask Nick Bull anything.
That's right. For my tag team partner, co-champ of the For Frequency's Sake Network, the Wizard CZ, I am the one, the only, never wrong Nick Bull. Thank you for joining us. This has been the Kickout, the final word in wrestling.
This has been a For Frequency's Sake Podcast Network production. For more great content, subscribe to For Frequency's Sake on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.